Hey lovely people of earth, I'm Kimani Hall and welcome to my channel, Hauling This Together, where we do baking videos, decorating tutorials, lifestyle vlogs, gluten-free recipes, just about anything that has to do with my life that I think is interesting enough to post on the internet. So if you're interested in any of those things, then please consider subscribing. For today's video though, I'll be showing you guys how I made this boy baby shower cake, messed it up and had to do it again. So if you're interested in seeing that, then keep on watching. Okay, so let's get started. Like all my cakes, I put a dollop of buttercream on the board as glue basically, and I put on my first layer. This cake is a 6-inch 2-layer cake that will be covered in fondant, and I'm using Swiss meringue buttercream, which is now my new favorite. I've been using American for the longest while, and I tried doing the Swiss meringue and I'm like, yes, I'm in love. So that's me just making sure that it's leveled. I don't know what's going on with that recipe, to be honest, but I keep getting like a concave type result at the end. I don't know. If anybody in the comment section knows what's going on, let me know. I think I need to work on it a little bit more, but you know, it tastes delicious, so I guess it's worth it. So now I'm just doing my crumb coat. Usually when I'm doing a fondant cake, I don't do a crumb coat and then a full coat. I just do the crumb coat and put the fondant over that. This coat, however, in this cake at this point was a little bit too thick, and I have no idea why I did it so thick. I think I was just too tired and just not really thinking, and I think that's one of the main reasons why the cake ended up failing in the end. I literally took a nap. I came back and the cake was like sweating and it had bubbles, like air bubbles underneath, and I was just, yeah, couldn't give a customer that, so I had to redo the cake. Now I'm just smoothing out that crumb coat so that, you know, it has a smooth underneath when I put on the fondant. For me, as I said, I usually just do a crumb coat for the fondant cakes anyways, so I usually do like a thick crumb coat, but this was a little bit thicker than I wanted because you could barely see the cake underneath, and usually you can see more cake than that. I don't know, so that's what I did there. As you can see, I have a little bit of a lip, and so I just went over it one last time to get it somewhat crisp, and then, you know, just throw it in the fridge or freezer for a bit until it's chilled and there is no transfer. So I have my baby blue fondant here that I colored, rolled out, and now I'm just going to put on. This was another mistake that I made. It was very lopsided. As you can see, one side was really long and the other side was short. I thought I was fixing it, but looking at the video now, I just lifted it and put it back in the same position, and so it wasn't fixed, and then I kind of adhered the top and couldn't lift it again. So yeah, I kind of just had to stick with it. However, I do know that fondant stretches, and this fondant I added some Tylose powder, so I know that it would, you know, give me a little bit of a better stretch since it wasn't like activated as it. So I wasn't worried because I know I could get it to cover the cake. So yeah, this is just me trying to smooth the sides. I always do this first. I smooth it with my hands, whether I'm wearing gloves or I just have clean hands. I smooth it with my hands first, and then I go in with my fondant smoothers to get it, you know, crisp and ensure that there are no bubbles or lines or anything like that. If I do have an air bubble, however, I use a sharp pin, that's food safe of course, to pop that bubble and guide the air out. So as I said, this is just me trying to get the cake covered in the fondant. As you can see, like I have a few like skirting at the side right there, which was shorter, but I did get the fondant to cover the entire cake, which was great. It just takes a little bit of a practice and I guess some patience, because if you pull on the fondant too hard, then, you know, it will tear, and if you don't pull hard enough, it won't get to the bottom. You can also stretch it too much and have it too thin, which I think might have been a little bit of a possibility here. To be honest, I'm not sure exactly where I went wrong. I think I did a few things wrong here, I'm just making assumptions at this point. So now I'm cutting off the excess fondant before I smooth with my fondant smoothers, just to get it out of the way. Going over again with my hand and then with the fondant smoother. I didn't film that part. I used the end of a drizzling tool to basically like carve out the words that I wanted, which is oh baby. So I just did that so I could have like a guide to write on with my gold. Now this gold is edible luster dust, which was mixed with, I think I used almond extract for this one, but most times I'll use like vodka or something, but I think I used almond extract mainly because that's what I had on hand. It usually evaporates anyways, so unless it's like a Muslim or somebody who like definitely can't have alcohol for some restrictive reason, then I use vodka most times and not. And you don't taste it, so it's not like, oh, I'm giving this to a pregnant lady and it has vodka. It's not that serious. So I just use that with my paintbrush, which I only use for cakes. I also added that pearl border at the bottom that I didn't film, and these are just some pre-cut clouds that I added some petal dust to the corners and just some parts to give it like some dimensions. I used a darker blue and I just kind of went to town and randomly added some shadows and shades and stuff to it, because clouds aren't like fully white when you look at it in the sky, and I thought it was cool, so why not. And I'm just adhering those to my cake using some water that I applied using my paintbrush. Now the next thing is, I didn't use a mold or a cutter for these clouds. I literally just free-handed them. I thought that gave it a nice look and it wasn't too uniformed. I hate uniformity when it comes to like these kind of cakes. So yeah, and I'm just randomly placing them as well. And then I added some gold stars, which I didn't paint, but I did toss them around in some gold edible glitter, but it's like really fine glitter, so it's almost like luster dust, but it's not as metallic. But I thought it gave it a cool contrast, and so I chose that instead of painting them with the luster dust. For the stars, however, I did use a cutter because I'm not that skilled and they would come out looking weird. So I'm just attaching them again, as you can see, using a little dab of water that's on the end of my paintbrush, and I'm using another fondant tool with like a needle end that I also use to pop any bubbles that I have to put on the stars. And you need to think about your placement if this is the method you're using before you put it on, because as you saw from that star at the bottom, the second it touches the cake, it's going to leave a mark. So that's what the cake looked like. Now I went to take a nap, guys. I went to take a nap for like 40 minutes. I came back and I saw all these bubbles and I tried popping them. I saw one at first. I tried popping it and putting a cloud over it, and it just wasn't working out. And then I saw that there was a big bubble at the word boy, and I'm like, yeah, I can't fix that because it has paint and stuff. So I just took off everything that I could take off and actually like save, so it would save me some time. At this point, the customer was coming in like an hour and I had to remix fondant, recolor it, so the color is a little bit different. But as you could see from like the cake underneath, this one had less frosting and you could see more cake on it. I figured that I probably used too much frosting in the first coat. It's usually more than I usually use anyways, so I just redid it and yeah, added my pearl border, most of which I kept, and I redid my painting. I didn't show much of it because I showed it already. The font was a little bit different. This part, however, was the most fun I had, adding some 3D clouds somewhat. Well, it's not 3D, it's 2D, but they're standing up. I did the same thing I did for the side clouds, but I made them thicker, and I added the skewers and some toothpick and some like edible floral wire thing. So depending on what it was, I added a different things based on thickness. And I just threw them in the dehydrator until they got firm, and this is the end result. I was literally so proud of this cake. As you can see, the font is a little bit different, but I love this cake. And if you love this cake as much as I do, then please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, and leaving a comment down below in the comment section, because why not? So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope to see you guys next week with another upload. Remember, until I finish all my old content, I'll be posting twice per week. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, stay golden.